Mayor Lori Lightfoot gave a news conference today just a few hours ahead of the release of video showing the police killing of 13-year-old Adam Toledo last month. She called for calm and patience as an investigation into the shooting continues, and also for federal assistance to stop the flow of illegal guns into Chicago. WTTW News reporter Heather Cherone joins us now with more. So Heather, first let's take a listen to some of what the mayor had to say today.
Even as our understanding of this incident continues to evolve, this remains a complicated and nuanced story. And we all must proceed with deep empathy and calm, and importantly, peace.
Heather, what else did the mayor want the city to know before they see these videos?
Well, it was essentially a warning that the videos were, in her words, quote, excruciating, and that it really was not just about Adam Toledo, but about the systemic problems facing kids like him across Chicago that brought him to that alley just after 2:30 a.m. on March 29th. And she sought to widen the picture a little bit just from that horrific couple of moments that we've all seen today.
Mayor Lightfoot has also, she's calling on the federal government to step up to stem the flow of illegal firearms into Chicago. Anything new here?
No, we've heard her make these requests time and time again, particularly when there's been a high-profile crime or a high-profile incident. She has constantly called on the federal government to do more to stop the flow of illegal guns into Chicago from states like Indiana, where the gun laws are much looser. And she wants loopholes closed that will prevent the sale of guns to those who are not entitled to have them. But this is not really anything new, as I said, and the Biden administration has taken some steps to do some of what the mayor has asked for in terms of executive action. But the mayor has long wanted to see comprehensive gun control reform, which remains a long shot in the United States Congress.
Now, the mayor also talked about the trauma that youth in Chicago's neighborhoods face growing up surrounded by gun violence. Here's what she said.
Two facts about this tragedy remain clear. First, in the middle of the night, this child was in contact with an adult who had a gun and then ended up being shot and killed by a police officer. And second, there are too many young people in our city, boys and girls alike, who have been left vulnerable by systemic failures that we simply must fix. These two realities urge us to reckon with and address the relationship between the police, our communities, and especially our young people.
And Heather, what did the mayor have to say here about what the city has done or can do about this?
Well, the mayor is very proud of what she says is her record in directing city money towards social services. Everything from counseling, after-school programs, summer jobs, all sorts of things that she says is necessary to address that systemic inequality. But again, this is a long-standing issue, and this is not something that can be solved easily or overnight or even really anytime soon. More than a year ago, the mayor called for an end to generational poverty, which is really what she's talking about here. But the pandemic has only made those issues worse, and they are in stark relief tonight as we all think about Adam Toledo and his family.
Now, on April 5th, a week after the shooting, the mayor blamed the adult who allegedly put the gun in Adam Toledo's hands for his death. Here's what she said then.
An adult put a gun in a child's hand, a young, impressionable child, and one who should not have been provided with lethal force, a weapon that could and did irreparably change the course of his life.
Mayor seemed to be using her words or choosing her words more carefully today. Heather, what's your read on that?
Well, when she addressed the news media on April 5th, she said she had not yet seen the video recorded by the officer's body-worn camera. And of course, we've seen it now, and it shows Adam with his hands up at the moment that he was shot. And it seems as if it calls into question about the police narrative of what happened that night, which police said from the beginning involved an armed confrontation. So the question is, was that entirely accurate? Or did it try to paint a picture that the body camera footage has shown is not accurate? And this is not the first time that Mayor Lightfoot has addressed the news media and given us information about a police misconduct furor. If you can cast your memory all the way back to February, she said that she hadn't learned about the Anjanette Young botched raid until CBS 2 reported on it. A day later, she acknowledged that she had heard about it and that we learned from emails released weeks later that she'd actually been briefed in detail about it. So I think there are still questions remaining about what Mayor Lightfoot knew and when she knew it and when she saw this camera footage and whether or not that has caused her to change her narrative of what happened at this fateful event.
All right, Heather, thank you. And of course, we'll see you a bit later in the program for more analysis on the video of the fatal shooting released by COPA today. Heather, thanks. We'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, Brandis.
And you can read Heather's full story as well as coverage from our Matt Masterson on our website. That's at WTTW.com/news.